You are an inspiring nation that bring energy, passion to anybody on earth. I mean, 250 languages, and you still can make a democracy. That's something we should all appreciate and respect. And I really get inspired every day by brave, smart Indians who had made it happen all through the world. And I would like to thank my dear friend Arvind Gupta. He just went out for coffee, the founder of Digital India, who has been inspiring through the morning today, who's the reason to have me here. I would like to tell another story before we go forward. That's small country, 10 million people, and that's a billion and a half. Those are the two countries that we were talking about. And frankly, this 1990 did not mean anything to me before I met Mr. Yusuf Ali, the founder of Lulu, who's the richest Indian guy in the Gulf. And the first time I met him, he hugged me and kissed me and said, I can never thank you enough. I said, oh, why would you thank me? Who am I? You're the richest guy in the Gulf, and I'm a poor guy from Jordan. He said, no, I want to thank Jordan. I said, why? He said, in 1990, there is 170,000 Indians who were in Kuwait that nobody cared about but King Hussein back then, who coordinated the biggest human evacuation from Kuwait to Amman and then back to Delhi in a very big operation. And there was a movie called Airlift about it. And actually, in a couple of months' time or less, I'm going to launch a website called Airlift 1990 to initiate support between Indian companies and Jordanians, but that's a thing for the future. So why am I talking about fintech in MENA? It's very simple. We have a very huge market. We're not India, but come on, 578 million people is a lot of people. And they can be a good market for you guys. And digital wallets are on the rise with support from governments. I mean, in my own country, during COVID, before COVID, we had almost 200, 250,000 wallets. In 2 months, 3 months' time, we had 1.7 million. We grew 8 times, 9 times because of COVID, because we pushed everybody. Anybody who wants to get money, support from the government, he needs to have a digital wallet. And it worked. And I mean, we leapfrogged during COVID because it works. It can support people, it can be inclusive, and it can be easy with 93% smartphones percentage with the users in Jordan. And startups in MENA have raised 3.9 billion in 2022. And maybe that's not big for India, but that's a lot of money. That's very much a lot of money for people. You know, we're 10, 11 million. 35% of us are refugees. We have refugees from 35 nationalities. I mean, if you go visit the northern borders of Jordan, an officer there would explain to you that he had a refugee every 6 minutes for 3 years. And we'd have taken good care of them. So we're a small country that this amount of money means a lot. And actually, there was a lot of growth last year. And it will continue to happen. This is your addressable market. 70% of the people in MENA do not have access to bank accounts, and they're not financially included. So those are addressable market. Out of 578 people, 78 million people, you have those people to sell them services. And there is a huge demand from the governments to increase the financial inclusion. Why? Because, first of all, we need to address the exclusion. Exclusion is unfair. When you're not included into any financial system, you have less support from your government, and that's something governments want to have. And we need to formalize the gray market and black market. We need to get them into the system. We need to really know our size of economy, and I think we share the same problem here. And I mean, during COVID, we had a severe lockdown. For example, we forced people to have a social security number if they want to move around for work. That increased the number of companies in the social security by 60% in 3 months. 60%. It took us 50 years to have 56,000 companies and 3 months to have an additional 30,000 companies. It works. And fintech is something that's I want to use this gentleman's word. It's sexy. It's attractive. I mean, we have a very young population. In Jordan alone, we have 70% below 30 years old, and the region overall is a very young region. So those people will come in and they will become digitally native, and they will need fintech to go to the market. Purchasing power varies. Definitely, everybody looks to Saudi, but even small countries have a lot of purchasing power. Qatar is one of the smallest countries on earth, but they have the highest GDP per capita. Iraq is a huge market, and it's still green. Nothing has happened there for a while. These are the fintech investments in the region, and you can see how they're growing. So there is a lot of money being invested in fintech, and those fintech companies would need solutions that I have seen in the last 2 days. You have done a lot here at scale. So you know better how to address those markets, but there is a lot of money being spent on fintechs in the Middle East. That I have already explained, and a lot is happening there. EKYC, the key thing that would make fintech happen. I mean, if you cannot onboard people to digital platforms, you cannot do it. And there is so many solutions in different countries. I mean, UAE is already on blockchain. Qatar, they're already on the KYC, EKYC. Saudi, the same. Kuwait, Bahrain, all of them are using EKYC solutions. And that's what happened in Jordan. And I mean, the only way we could grow from 200K to 1.7K, 1.7 million, is by allowing EKYC. And you're integrating to an API with the Ministry of Interior department, and that's it. Then you can onboard people easily. Same for Jordan, Tunisia, Egypt. Egypt is growing. Egypt is 100 million people. It's not much. It's not much for you guys, but it's 10 times Jordan. So it's a lot of market there. And they have few companies that became $1 billion companies inside their local markets. Iraq is also, you cannot see it because it's behind the chairs, but Iraq is a big thing, and it's just starting. And there you can do a lot of business. Cash and circulation. You know, the Middle Eastern consumers made 1.4 trillion in cash payments in 2021. 1.4 trillion. I mean, let's take 2% of that, 1%. And that's the money you can make if you get them into the system. Only about 1/3 of the retail transactions happened electronically. And in a survey in 2022, people are still cash friendly. They carry cash. I don't. I only carry my credit card, but sometimes I have to carry cash for tips, whatever. But people are still carrying cash with them. And that's something that you can change. And cash in circulation, for example, those are crazy numbers. I mean, if I look to Iraq, in 2020, it was 72 billion. It's now $89 billion cash in people's pockets, under the pillow. That's cash being carried around, and that's cash that you can make money out of. Saudi is a bigger economy than Iraq, but there is less cash in circulation because they're more digitally included. Kuwait is around 82% of total payments is still on cash. Qatar, it's 16 billion. It's a very small country. I mean, maybe it's less than 5 million people, and they still have $16 billion cash in circulation in their pockets. The biggest challenge for fintech in the region, according to PwC, is access to the right skill sets. You don't have a gap in that in India. You're the best on earth with that, and I can give you credit. When I was a minister for 2.5 years, I copied two things. Tried to copy Digital India from Arvind, and copied the NSCC experience. And we created a $200 million program with the World Bank, where my dear friend Manish Kumar, who is unfortunately not here, has designed it for us. So we copied you guys. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We need to learn from the best people on earth, and you're the best people on earth. But the biggest challenge in the region is skills. And for you guys to go to Jordan or to the region Middle East, you don't have an issue with skills, but you have an issue with the skills that speak Arabic, because you need to talk to the customers in their language. And that's why I'm here. I'm trying to sell you my country. Obviously, I'm very clear. We're a small country that has, our biggest problem is biggest solution for everybody. We have 500,000 unemployed people with university degrees. I mean, we studied too much, but our market size is too small to grow enough to create jobs for everybody. But we have managed to serve the global clients like you have did, and we're just learning from you. We've grown 19% year over year for the last 3 years in digitally enabled jobs. That did not happen by chance, did not happen out of charity. Jeff Bezos did not grow from 300 to 3,000 in Jordan just because he loves Jordanians, because he found the right talent, the right commitment, and the right people to serve his business. Alexa, what was the name of the Amazon assistant? Alexa. Alexa in Arabic was done in Jordan. I'm sorry, I'm a Google guy. It was done in Jordan. I mean, lots of the Arabization of localization of games. Microsoft in the 80s was Arabized in Jordan. I mean, we're a small country, but we have contributed a lot. And that happened because of our deep investment in talent. I mean, His Majesty the King believes that technology is the tool for justice. It creates opportunities when resources are scarce. We're a small country with nothing but people. And those people have managed to contribute to the global stability in a way. We send fighters, civil defense people, whenever there's a crisis on earth, to Japan and to Turkey and Syria right now with the earthquake. That's what we do. We try to help people. We take good care of people, whether they're refugees or international companies. That's who we are. And we have the best free trade agreement with the US, so it's not only technology, it's both manufacturing products and services. So if you want to export to the US without taxes, come to Jordan, and we can help you with that. Tech ecosystem with lots of talented people. 22% of our graduates are STEM graduates. Most of them are females. We have a challenge with female employment, but only in technology, the percentage is 3 times as the other sectors, because again, it's a tool for justice. It allows females to work from home, to overcome the challenges of transportation, pay equity, daycare, all that stuff. And the government has invested heavily in regulations that allows female employment in that field. And we're just 2.5 hours away from here in time zone, and we're close to the US clients. We're close to the Middle East. We're the same time zone with the Middle East. So, and we speak Arabic. I mentioned that infrastructure. That I'm really proud of. During COVID, we had this very severe lockdown. Nobody was allowed to move around. And we needed to continue maintaining basic services using technology. One best example is education. So the Prime Minister called, said, we're locking down the country. You need to find me a solution. Okay? In a week time, we had a platform where 1.5 billion lessons were attended on. We're only 10 million, so 1.5 billion is a big number. And with 0 glitches. How did that happen? By a Jordanian startup. But how did the network take 70% growth overnight? You know, anybody who works in telecom knows that nobody expands by 70%. We usually do. I'm a telecom guy in my previous history. I used to work for Ericsson all my life. So 20% year over year, that's a lot of investment. But we grew 70% overnight. And the telecom operators could take that pressure. We gave them free spectrum at the time. We said, okay, give us free internet for education, we'll give you free spectrum. It worked. We used startups to provide primary health care where with lead time 3 to 5 minutes, where there are doctors answering you on the other side of the phone, telling you what to do if you have COVID, instead of calling 911 and getting the system totally bombarded. Because the first day, it was crazy. And actually, let me tell you this story. I got a call from the Prime Minister at 8:30 at night. I said, I tried to call the Minister of Health hotline, and I waited for 15 minutes. This cannot happen. Jordanians cannot wait. You need to fix it. I said, okay, consider it done. I don't know how I said consider it done. It was 8:30 at night. I said, I need it tomorrow. I said, okay. And I remember a Jordanian startup called Al-Tibbi, who got the biggest health tech investment in the Middle East, supported by Al-Hikma, which is a great pharmaceutical company in Jordan, who's a $3 billion company. It's not only in Jordan, it's in the US to Jordan. And we had, in 12 hours, short number 111, where our doctors answering with 3 minutes. It works. We're a small country, but we can scale immediately. That's the lovely part about being nimble and small. And we are very similar to India. We don't charge you if you export from Jordan. Tax-free if you export services from Jordan. And we're dual language. We speak good English. I'm a public school student, so I claim that I have good English. And yeah, we have some challenges sometimes, but you'll find English-speaking people very well. And we have greatest support from His Majesty and the government to technology. We believe technology is our way outwards. I mean, in the next 6 years, we're going to double the number of doctors in Jordan compared to the 100 years before. So how would you find them jobs unless you use technology? We have just launched our 10 years plan, economic plan, modernization plan. And the biggest focus is on digitally enabled jobs and high value manufacturing. And that only can happen by technology with great incentives, salary subsidies, upskilling programs. And the Airlift 1990 website I'm going to launch is in partnership with an Indian friend who's going to open his center for his health tech business to support the Middle East region from Jordan. That's how we started this. I said, no, I'm convinced, let's build something together. India and Jordan trade agreement started 1976. I mean, I don't need to explain to you history. The only thing we export to you guys is fertilizers. I mean, I remember, I don't remember when, I was still in office and a friend of mine came from India and said, you know, in the 60s, you helped us during the famine days because we needed food on the table. And I was very inspired. You know, we're too small to help India. We're too small. We are barely, how much are we? Less than 1%. But okay, we've managed to be useful once upon a time. We want to stay useful forever. I would welcome any questions. Thank you so much, and I hope I did not waste your time. Nobody has questions. That means I was either boring or it's very clear.
Yeah, how's the healthcare sector is growing at Jordan compared to India? Is there any possibility for healthcare sector?
Well, that's a tough question. We have a huge number of doctors graduating every year, and that's a mistake. I mean, we cannot afford all of them. We need to reduce the number of doctors that are graduating. But healthcare, almost 70% of the Jordanians are insured, either privately or with the government. 30% are not insured, but most of them apply for some kind of exemptions from the government or His Majesty, and they get that. But basically, we think that a huge opportunity for us is to export primary health care to aging nations, which you could do the same. I mean, aging nations would need doctors who speak English. And that's something you could do in India the same way. I did not answer you. I don't have any more details. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
You want to go first? Yeah, I joined a little late, so I'm not sure if you've already covered it. When you're talking about how we could partner, what exactly are you looking at? Are you looking at, you said that you have a large population of STEM graduates who could get into the field. Are you looking at technologies that will enable them? Are you looking at companies over here setting up shop in Jordan so that we can then build this ecosystem as a part of the Jordan economy? What are you looking at specifically?
Thank you. This is the main purpose of this session, and I missed saying it clearly. Thank you. I was super excited, and I missed saying that.
Oh, I might have missed it because I came
No,
in
no,
a
no.
little
I
late.
did not say it as clear as you should. I should have done it. What I'm saying that you guys are big, and you need to serve the clients in the Middle East, in Saudi, Dubai, Qatar, Iraq, all those countries who have big purchasing power. We don't have purchasing power. Don't try to sell us anything. We're too small. We're too poor. We're a good country that can be your back office to that region. If you want resources that speak Arabic to serve the region Middle East, you can do it in Jordan. And you don't need to set shop. You can simply outsource to existing companies. There are many existing companies that, one of them is actually Indian. Kaushal Shah is a good friend of mine who started the company 20 years ago, came to Jordan. He hires 500 people who serves the US market from Jordan. I have an outsourcing company. I can introduce you to 10 outsourcing companies. You can simply, if you want to complement your team, you have all the tech side, whatever, but you need 10%, 5% that serves the Arabic-speaking clients in the Middle East. Use Jordanian companies for that, and they will be able to serve you properly. That's what I'm trying to do. Thank you.
So, if we, in the extension of the question that he asked, if we decide to start working with Jordanian companies out there, and we need to also have some of our people working out of Jordan along with the teams there, what is the visa regime there, and how are the labor laws which would impact us to set up, have our people out there?
I will not fool you. It depends.
Okay.
We're a third world country. Things can happen. Sometimes a lazy employee can complicate things, but the laws allow 25% foreign labor. It sometimes can complicate it, but I'll fix it for you. So if that's the question, I don't like to fool people. The law says that 25% of foreign labor can be in any company. So it's possible to have leadership from India, from anywhere on earth to lead the teams, to build the teams there. Some Chinese companies, some Indian companies. Actually, let me tell you a story. Sonal Kumar is an Indian who came to Jordan 20 years ago when the free trade agreement was just starting, and he threw $200,000 in the desert. Now he exports $1 billion a year to the US in clothes, in textile. I mean, and he hires almost 28,000 Indians and Bangladeshis and Nepalis in his factories. So it works. But I just like to be very honest. Sometimes people complicate it, but we'll fix it. Usually fix it.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.